Stay on.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of The Cut. I am your host, Christian Williams, and I am joined by Randy Hall. Randy, how are you, man?
I'm tired. Long
Same.
night last night. I've been packing somewhat all day. Still need to pack before I sleep. So yeah, it's been exhausting.
Yeah, so hopefully what you're saying is these picks come in 30 seconds or less during the third round.
100%.
And we are also joined by Sean Ward, as we were last night. Sean, thanks for joining us. How are you, man?
I'll tell you in about 4 picks.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to mute you.
You're gonna be angry.
Yeah,
I'm not. No, I won't. I won't do that. That'll be for my text to you guys later on. But I think this has been a pretty wild second round. Or like to kind of follow up with the first, and obviously I'm sure we'll talk about it. But the fact are Malik Willis and Desmond Ritter, are they going to go undrafted? I think we have a shot at this.
They're not going undrafted.
they're not, but that is the starting point that I think we should, in recapping the second round, it's worth noting that not a single quarterback came off the board. The Falcons picked multiple times, I believe twice. The Seahawks picked twice. Yeah, so multiple teams that needed quarterbacks decided to pass. And so I think what we're seeing is these quarterbacks were very, very much so a media-driven hype train. It was not the NFL feeling a certain way. And, as a show, I think, Randy, I don't know if you feel a little bit of validation with that, but we've kind of been preaching that these guys are not what we tried to make them out to be. Now, if situations are correct, they could turn into starting quarterbacks. I think 2 or 3 of them could be that. At this rate, though, we're going to be lucky if they come off the board here in the third round.
I think they all kind of come off the board here.
Okay.
We had them all. We had them all as day 2 picks. I mean, first off, it's.
Every single
whether
one
we thought they'd go day 2 or day 1 is different, but that's just how it goes. I am surprised that not one went off this last round, but I do expect a few to fly off. And I think there's teams that are looking at the board here like, yeah, I know this is a process with these quarterbacks, but Jesus, what an upside in the third round, So, I mean, even not this team like Jacksonville to start the round, but even Minnesota, the Giants, Tennessee, Seattle, Indianapolis, even Atlanta. I mean, and even Houston in the third, they could take a shot. I mean, they took Davis Mills in the third round last year, and obviously that worked out hopefully for them, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's been a crazy round 2. The Seahawks obviously decided to go with a running back, which is hilarious considering they brought back Rashad Penny and have Chris Carson. I think to me that indicates that maybe Chris Carson is not ahead of schedule as we once thought he was. So
I don't think we ever knew what his schedule was, though. Like I don't think any of us predicted he's ahead of schedule necessarily.
I thought I saw a report. I thought I saw a report that like he was doing well, but then they re-signed Rashad Penny. Yeah,
because Seattle coaches are synonymous with lying.
Yeah, so as this third round goes along, we're obviously going to report the picks and kind of talk through those guys, but we'll sprinkle in some second round reaction as well. But that's why I'm going to interrupt this conversation. Luke Fortner, the center from Kentucky, just got snagged by the Jaguars. Really, really fantastic pick. I kind of alluded to the fact that I think that Luke Fortner is the best Kentucky lineman last night on the stream, and then he comes off the board as such. Darian Kennard is still on there. I think he'll go sometime in this third round as well. But a lot of good tackles left. A lot of good interior offensive linemen have come off the board. So,
but A lot of good linebackers, even though one just went.
Which
Jacoby Dean's still on the board. He did not just go.
Brian Asamoah just
Wow.
went to the
Yeah,
Vikings.
Brian Asamoah.
Is he now? Is he more? Is he more of like an edge linebacker hybrid? That's what I've seen.
No.
I would classify him as a linebacker. Like, I think he's an outside linebacker, but I think he'd be more of a blitzing linebacker than an edge.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's
guys. Do you think
What's
that the Giants have ultimately pulled the trigger here now at 67 on Malik?
We'll see. That's why I listed all those quarterback possibility teams is like in the third round, especially a team like the Giants, who, while the second round pick of Wan'Dale Robinson could be debated, just like their first round pick last year, they nailed the first round, which is so bad because when that pick came in, I was like, well, you had a good run. You screwed up already, but Wan'Dale does do good things. It just means I think that means Kadarius Toney's definitely out of the team. He's just not going there. And I do think this is the team that could take him because while they do want Daniel Jones to succeed, they didn't pick up the 5th-year option for a reason. It's not him.
So explain to me why Nakobe Dean hasn't been drafted in a way that a child would understand. There are two things working against Nakobe Dean. The injuries his medicals turned out pretty badly from what I've heard. This was kind of expected. Now, all the way through the second round, I didn't think that would happen. But then the size concerns. Is he big enough to play in the NFL? I think so, but
So here's the thing. All the linebackers you see on that ticker are second-round players, and they're still on the board. So I think we see this absolute depth of the linebacker class here for day 2 and day 3, and teams are prioritizing the other positions. And I do know other linebackers have come with the board, but they're a little bit more scheme specific for said teams. Obviously, I think Minnesota getting a guy that does, pass rush like that, it makes sense. That makes more sense to me. Giants here trying to revitalize their line as best as possible, getting another guard. Like, that makes sense, especially when they lost Will Hernandez, even though he didn't really progress after his rookie year necessarily. But the linebacking room is absolutely stacked right now, and that's like even the Browns. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if they go linebacker here. I think we all want Travis Jones. Christian want Travis Jones.
There you go. Thank you.
Well, I don't have a top available wide receiver anymore.
Yeah, it looks like
they're all gone.
The best, I think the best one that Mel Kiper had, it was Tolbert.
No, it's Calvin Austin on his board.
It's Tolbert and Austin were 1 and 2. I couldn't remember which. And then Khalil Shakir, I believe, was 3.
So I'll tell you too, Khalil Shakir checks a lot of boxes for the Browns. I do think that that's something that they would explore here. But I think they said, we don't need that. That's the reason they traded back, because they saw the run and said, we're going to be able to get value at a different position later, which is fine. Yeah. Maybe they feel like they don't need it because, they have what they believe to be an elite quarterback that can elevate the players around them. And I also think Will Fuller is going to be a Cleveland Browns player by the end of this week. So
I just don't like I don't like the idea of that when right now the room is Amari Cooper, Jakeem Grant, and Donovan Peoples-Jones. But I get what you're saying. But right now, that room, like Jakeem Grant's on his third. He's a 29-year-old. He's on his third team. He's a glorified punt returner.
He's better than that. But
Jakeem Grant, when was he ever? He was never the option with the Dolphins. Like, you guys love Preston Wilson. It was always Devontae Parker, Preston Wilson, and then Jakeem Grant.
Williams.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. So, yes, but so if you watch, I feel like Jakeem Grant just really hasn't found his role. He was explosive for the Bears last year in spurts as a wide receiver too. If you use him in the way that the Browns like to use their slot receiver, I think he can be a really effective player.
Yeah. But
I think that that's still something they would look to upgrade because I do think that they signed him to have that impact on special teams.
Yeah, but I mean, we're looking at the receiver board. My highest is David Bell, Calvin Austin, Khalil Shakir, Jalen Tolbert. Those aren't needle movers, especially at 68.
Well, one of those guys they can get back at 77 again. I mean, this would make it would make sense for them to go Matthew Jones or Travis Jones here.
Jones.
It would make sense for them to go Travis Jones.
Yeah. So my highest rated receivers left are also David Bell, Khalil Shakir, Calvin Austin, Jalen Tolbert, and then there's a steep drop off, and so that's why I think you could see.
My next highest is Justin Ross. That's why I just left it out. Who I do think could have a good NFL career, but he's not worth a pick here.
No. Of course, it's the commercial.
Now, I also think that, I toss tight end here at the back. I think that they're going to look to explore the tight end position at some point. Yeah, I mean, I think they would go with someone more. I think Jeremy Rucker could be on the board for them because they don't. I mean, Njoku can block for sure, but I think they want to use him as a weapon. They want Harrison Bryant to also be a weapon, so they need that third tight end, though. Who knows what this offense looks like with Deshaun Watson? And as of right now, with where the roster stands, I would say they're still going to be a heavy 12 personnel team. But yeah, I think it's defense here. So,
well, why is Stefanski just by himself? What the shit?
Yeah, well,
they went to the Browns war room and it's just him on an iPad in front of computers. I don't what the hell?
He's making the decisions himself. Andrew Berry quit.
So this is awesome. This is now the third WWE wrestler to make a pick today.
All right, I will give. Please, for this one, I'm almost there. Please don't say anything until I see it on mine. For this,
that's fine. Yeah, that's kind of what I expected. Man, I hope this is Travis Jones.
I do like the miss though.
Yeah, he loves Cleveland. So
yeah, they announced on Cleveland.com the other day that he would be there. Isn't he from Cleveland?
He's from Parma.
Yeah, he wrestled at Parma.
Okay.
Oh no. What is it?
Dead air. Vamp.
No.
I'm kind of letting you see it on your own.
Yeah, that's
on purpose. It's not Travis Jones.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
I don't think Christian's seen it yet, so maybe relax.
I have.
What are we doing?
Drafting good corners. That's what we're doing.
Why? That's not your need right now.
Because our secondary is always banged up.
But you just signed a dude to a 6-year deal.
I don't believe they drafted Martin Emerson to get rid of Denzel Ward. I mean,
so Marcus Harvey,
you signed Troy Hill to 3 years.
Yeah. And Greedy Williams has 1 year left on his contract.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Marcus Harvey, go follow him on Twitter. I gave him shit today. I've given him shit in the past. I said there's no way that the Browns go corner when they have just massive needs elsewhere. He thought we would take Andrew Booth in the second if he was there, or Kyler Gordon if he was there. And I said, that's crazy. They will not do that. So public apology. I just tweeted at him and said, I'm sorry. I agree. I don't like that pick. I think that's a bad pick. I think Andrew Berry makes bad picks in the middle rounds. So
yeah, he's a good player. I do have him just as a 3rd round pick. It doesn't look like the Browns fans are. It looks like they're trying to manufacture being happy, but I get it. That's a
yeah. That's
okay. So that makes more sense.
Travis Jones is right there.
Yeah, they also pick in 10 picks, so I think they're trying to.
There's no way the Bears pass on him here.
Listen. The Bears need tackle and receiver, and said no to both already. I don't think we could say there's no way they do something.
All right, so I didn't make a graphic for Nicholas Petit-Frere because I did not think that he would make it into the 1st round, and I only made graphics for players I thought would make it, and we still didn't get all the graphics because Cole Strange was picked in the 1st round. However, we did both scout Nicholas Petit-Frere, and Sean is an Ohio State fan, so we can give a little bit of of insight here. Randy, where did you grade Petit Frere?
He is my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th tackle. So I will say a lot of the tackles went off the board, and I did grade Sean Ryan as a tackle, even though I think he probably the NFL season as a guard. So I do still have a couple tackles ahead of him on the board still, but I mean, it's a weird pick for the Titans, no? Like, I would be more comfortable with Petit Frere in like a passing game system that, like, I know like his strengths. He's a really good run blocker, but he has anchor issues and like some like hand issues with placement. So while he is a very, very good prospect and a third round graded one at that, so like it's a fit with the pick, but why over Abraham Lucas over like
Yeah. So to me,
or Raymond, who's still there, right? Like
they have a pretty big need at guard too, and I think Petit Frere could maybe slide inside. And if not, I think what they're gonna do is try him at right tackle. Oh boy. Another linebacker, you freaking idiots.
And they signed what's his name from Atlanta?
Who did?
The Jags. They signed
yeah. So they've drafted 2 linebackers, and
how do you pronounce his name? Because I'm blanking on it. Forrest Akulawan or some shit.
Yeah, hang on. We're gonna look up the pronunciation. So Chad Muma, though, what a fantastic, yeah, fantastic player. But like, if you traded up to get Devin Lloyd, what are you doing? What are you doing?
BPA, I would assume, but you now have signed a big contract to a free agent linebacker who is a little bit smaller, and then you drafted 2 linebackers. I get this is a team that does use 3 linebackers, but my God, like there's
fire Trent Baalke into the sun, man. This is just disgusting. I mean, Chad Muma is such a good player. What are they going to do with all of this, though? Who's playing? Who is on the field? Did you draft Devin Lloyd to play your outside linebacker rusher role? But they also have
Trayvon Walker to be an edge rusher.
Exactly. So what are you doing? What are you doing?
So in theory, their linebackers are Foye Olakun. There, Devin Lloyd. They have Trayvon Walker as an outside linebacker, like edge rusher, which I that's not right, in my opinion. But you also had Shaq Quarterman. Like they needed depth at linebacker. Like that's why I like Devin Lloyd. I was like, you know what? Yeah, I get it. That's fine. Now you have your 2 interior linebackers. You're set. The Muma pick. This means Lloyd has to be outside, right? Like he can't be.
Yeah,
and they run more of a 3-4, but Josh Allen's an outside linebacker, and now they have Trayvon Walker as an outside linebacker. So, what are we do? Like I just don't.
Yeah. So. No, yeah, I don't even have words. This is another one where I just don't have words for it because Chad Muma, again, like
it's another ultra talented player. It's just the fit that I don't understand it.
Yeah. Yeah. So here the Chicago Bears are on the clock again. It looks like a wide receiver is on the board for them, but also Travis Jones is on the board, and I had them taking him in the 2nd round in my final mock. So I think that would make some sense. There were never any medical issues with Travis Jones, and I've kind of been talking with some people that are a little in the know, and they said they think it's just a level of competition thing, but I don't understand how you pop on the Senior Bowl tape, pop on the tape he had against Clemson and say that he can't compete at the highest level against the highest talent, the highest level of talent. I don't understand the fall, although maybe, again, maybe it's not a fall. The same way the quarterbacks are falling, maybe that's always been the case and everything was very media driven. I see Randy has seen the pick based on his blinking patterns. He's
They did something, that's for sure.
Hang on.
Is it a quarterback?
I flipped to the Guardians game. I'm very Velus
Jones.
Jones Jr. Is it Velus? Is that how you say it?
It's Velas. Yeah.
He's good. I just does he really like? To me, this is like a worse version of Darnell Mooney. Like I don't. Does this really elevate the receiving core?
So I think what they're doing is they're saying we're gonna go get speed. And so correct me if I'm wrong. Ryan Poles came from the Chiefs, right? That's where he just was.
I believe so. Yeah.
So Velus Jones has legit speed. He's a decent yak guy, decent release. He's 25 years old. He's got one contract, and so this doesn't feel like a pick that they should make based on the fact that they are so many years away. But at least it's someone. It is someone for Justin Fields to throw to, and Justin Fields is a fantastic deep ball thrower, and Velus can be that person for them. Mooney can too, but I think you also, I think you feed Darnell Mooney targets, and then you use Velus to kind of open up the field a little bit. So,
and that's fine, I guess. Like he's not a bad player by any means. It's just I saw him as a developmental receiver and instant he's your kick returner. Is that worth it to draft here in the third? I don't think so personally, but
yeah.
In fairness, they should have, in theory, they go offensive tackle or wide receiver with their first two picks. They absolutely killed it with their first two picks. It wasn't their biggest needs by any means, but they killed it. So I guess we'll give some leeway to this pick.
Well, and I can argue that it was their biggest need. So they needed a CB2 really, really desperately. And I think that their safety play has been less than ideal.
It has been.
But as someone who wants to see the quarterback succeed, I think it's really tough to get behind the first two picks when players like Sky Moore were still sitting on the board. And even going Velus Jones over, I guess, at least he profiles to be a guy who can play on the outside. I think Shakir might not be that. I think he can. I think the player that everyone wants is Calvin Austin at this point. Or Jalen Tolbert. I'm actually really shocked that a couple of these guys have gone before Jalen Tolbert too.
I'm not. I thought Tolbert would be third for sure. Same with Austin, and Austin's mainly because of his size. He's an athlete for sure, but he's a small boy. Even smaller than Devin Lloyd, which is apparently the biggest thing to NFL teams.
Nakobe Dean, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Seahawks are on the clock, pick is in, we're on commercial. At some point, Malik Willis has to come off the board, right?
Two of these next three picks should be Malik Willis and either Desmond Ritter or Sam Howell.
No, all three of these picks should be quarterbacks, if we're being honest. This should be Malik Willis, Sam Howell, Desmond Ritter, Sam Howell, whichever order you want to go in. Matt Corral's going to be a day 3 pick, though, I think, at this point.
Okay, Austin Gale has tweeted out that Nakobe Dean declined surgery on his shoulder, and teams are considering that like a major red flag, like medical red flag.
He did because he declined the surgery?
Yeah.
So why wouldn't he just get the surgery?
I don't know. I think he would now. Well, and that's the other thing. Like, once you get drafted, like, obviously you have control of your body, but the team's going to get you to get the surgery. So, yeah. But it's so weird because he didn't test. Like, if it was that bad and you're not going to test anyways, just get the surgery. Like, I don't. So, basically, teams don't think he's going to be ready to play. So, he's falling down the board, that's fair. I get it.
Well, and especially if a lot of off-ball linebackers had come off the board, I would feel, I would feel a little worse. But we've only seen 4 come off the board, I believe. 5 or 6. Quay Walker, Devin Lloyd, Ryan Asamoah, Troy Anderson, Chad Muma. Is that it? Those are the only 5 linebackers that have come off the board, and 2 of them went to Jacksonville.
I believe so.
That's disgusting.
So who did the Seahawks pick? Oh, okay.
Malik Willis?
No.
All right. Is it another running back?
It's a position they've already drafted, but it's a position they still need, especially this side.
Is it Bernard Raymond?
No, it's Abraham Lucas, right
That's a
tackle from
good
Washington State.
pick.
They now drafted their starting tackles for the future. That honestly, this is a solid. He's a very, very talented player. I think he fell down boards. While teams do need specific right tackles, he's just a right tackle. You know, like a lot of teams will pick the versatility over the specificity there, and he's a mauler, man. He's gonna he fits more of what I envision. You know what they want to do in the run game than the first pick, but the first pick was the best offensive lineman on the board, bar none. So yeah, it's Charles Cross, Boye Mafe, Kenneth Walker, and Abraham Lucas. That's a solid haul for the Seahawks. No quarterback there, but yeah,
I don't think they need one. I think they actually believe in Drew Lock, or they feel like they'll be bad enough with Drew Lock. There are 2 options, right? You're bad enough with Drew Lock that you go up and you get they don't have 2 first.
What is this? Please tell me this is not. I'm not going to speak again in case this is like a Make-A-Wish kid or something. But what is going on?
So for what it's worth, the Seahawks just picked at 72, and Abraham Lucas was my lowest rated player, and he was my 65th overall player. So, and I graded 180. I'm sure they graded 400 or so. So, I think that they're feeling pretty good about getting. This feels dangerous.
That's what I said. What the hell is going on? I will say this is clearly a solid pick.
Yeah, okay.
This is a solid pick for them, especially with a tackle coming off the board right before this. I don't want to give away because I'm trying to let you guys see it, but this is a guy that Jelani Woods, a guy that I knew would be going in the 3rd no matter what, just because of the athletic testing. There's no question there. His tape does have a little bit like left to the desire. I think it's just because more of the offense, and it is an offense that used multiple tight ends as well. He did shine in multiple aspects, and the athletic testing alone was going to skyrocket him up draft boards. When you compare it to some of the good things on tape, and the Colts really haven't had fantastic play from the tight end position for a long time. So I think this helps elevate the offense to another extent. They've drafted 2 athletic freaks so far in Alec Pierce and Jelani Woods. So we know what the Colts are valuing.
It is worth noting that we both kind of have our fears about Jelani being very similar to Mo Alley Cox. Something big.
Second quarterback about to be taken.
All right.
Atlanta Falcons. Can you guess
just
it?
give it to me?
Just guess it.
Hang on, I gotta go back.
No, Christian already got it. Desmond Ritter to the Atlanta Falcons. The second quarterback.
My QB2, baby, coming off.
I can't believe he went off before Malik Willis.
I can.
Listen, man. Malik Willis is talent upside. It's not talent film.
That's fine for me though, because I have a couple of shares of Desmond Ritter already in dynasty leagues, so I like that landing spot.
I think this is fantastic for the Falcons. They've kind of gotten a lot of talent already, and now you get a quarterback of the future who I do think can be the future of this team. You don't have to risk high capital. We got a 3rd-round pick here. This is best case scenario for the Falcons, getting a quarterback and getting good players.
This is their Dak Prescott. If everything falls into place,
that's a lot of people's comps too, by the way.
Yeah. I think I still think I like the Tannehill comp in that I've also what's that?
I just realized the Tannehill comp's going to take Mario's job again.
Oh, That is fantastic. Yeah, I'm writing this. I'm gonna write something about that. That feels like it should happen. No, I mean, I think there's a chance Desmond Ritter goes out and he wins the job. In camp, because he is what I would view as one of the most pro-ready guys here. Um, and ultimately, he's played a lot of really high-level football. He hasn't performed super well. I think the Alabama game is probably, if he goes out and throws for 400 against Alabama in their college football playoff game this year, I think he's a first round pick. He's going to the Steelers instead of Kenny Pickett because he does possess more athleticism. I think that he's got an equal, if not better, arm. I think he processes the middle of the field better. So,
the NFL Network's comp for him is Marcus Mariota, which is even better. It's less accurate, but it's even better. I think he's a better reader at this level than Mariota, although I do think reading defenses is one of his weaknesses. Like I don't know how else to say that, but it's just the offenses are slightly different that those two ran at college.
Yeah, so the Texans just traded up. I have to imagine that this is for a running back, actually, because they got ahead of Baltimore, but they also got ahead of the Colts again. So
Spiller?
Maybe
Spiller, you think?
I do think it's Spiller. Yeah. I do, because so they've been in love with Spiller. He's the hometown kid. We've seen the hometown, narrative throughout this draft quite a bit.
Who have the Texans drafted so far? Stingley,
Everyone. Literally,
that's not fucking helpful.
John Mechie.
Yeah,
they drafted Kenyon Green in the first, which I thought was
Stingley, Kenyon Green, John Mechie. Travis Jones is a good fit for them. So is a linebacker here. Lovie Smith is,
Is this N'Kobe Dean?
Jesus Christ, that was loud. You were just louder than normal. I don't know why, but
do you think this could be N'Kobe Dean?
I think it could be. I think that's what I was trying to get at. They need good linebackers, and I don't think they necessarily have that. I also think this could be Travis Jones because this was a team that definitely was in on Jordan Davis, but they decided getting more capital was better. So
if that happens, then the Martin Emerson pick makes even less sense.
So you're gonna get me to come around on the Martin Emerson pick. I think you're not. People will.
There you go.
So, and we didn't really get to talk about Martin Emerson that much because we were so disappointed. Martin Emerson, I didn't grade a whole lot of corners, but he graded out as my number 9 corner. He's a junior. He's an athlete. 8.46 relative athletic score. Really good press man corner, and that's exactly what they want to do on the outside. I think maybe Newsome slides into your slot with Troy Hill. Probably not, though.
Newsome's an outside corner. Emerson, I think, is an upside developmental piece for them, and that could mean that maybe Greedy's part of any trade they're discussing with Baker as well to get another body in this room here.
Well, here's my problem with that. I understand that like 3rd and 4th round, you're usually drafting for depth. With this being the first pick that you made, and you have holes specifically on the defensive line that you could take guys that would start day one, drafting a 3rd or 4th cornerback that is a developmental piece that is going to be that's going to help in multiple years with your first pick in the draft after you already mortgaged a hell of a lot of your future to go get Deshaun Watson. And now you're trying to not necessarily make up for it, but you're really walking on eggshells to hope that these picks in these middle rounds work. To do that instead of go tackle a position of need is just mind-boggling.
In counterpoint, right now at that pick, there was less starting caliber or rotational caliber corners on the board than D tackles. That's the counterpoint to that argument. It's they have 2 more 3rd round picks. They figured they could get a D tackle they liked later. They could get a receiver they liked later. This was the last quarterback they had valued on day 2. and they felt they needed another corner.
I guess I
means.
just don't understand the reasoning behind feeling like you need another corner right now.
Sometimes you don't get to understand the reasoning until the next move happens. That was more what I was getting at.
Yeah, which is probably the case. I think you're right. I think Greedy's probably getting traded. I've been kind of talking about that.
Most good organizations make picks like this. Like, I expect the Bills to draft a safety this year, just to get ahead of their curve at safety for the future with 2 aging safeties. Like, that's the stuff you expect from good organizations.
Well, but the Browns aren't there yet. They, like I said, they just
arguably they are.
They took the biggest risk in the history of the NFL by trading for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. Really quickly, though, so we haven't touched on Christian Harris, who just got drafted by the Texans. So Christian Harris is a guy that there was buzz that he was going to sneak into the back of the first at one point because NFL teams love his versatility. He's able to cover. He's able to play in the box. He's able to rush the passer. He's able to run fit really well. Now, I think instinctually he needs to get a little bit better. He needs to see the field better, but you're going to have that. He's just a junior. He was a junior. So he's a younger player as well, and that's exactly the type of player that the Texans needed to go get. Randy, how do you feel about that pick?
Yeah, I think it's a solid pick. I brought up right before the pick that Lovie Smith's defense needs good linebacker play. I do think it needs instinctual linebacker play as well, which is where he somewhat lacks. But it's a player that is really good in the run and is developing more and more in the pass as you see different, as he just continues to develop year by year. I think they'll get him to where they need him to be in the passing game, but he will make instant strides in their run defense. And you get ahead of Baltimore, who that's the exact type of linebacker they want. Someone that's going to stop the run, that's good at blitzing. Like that's a perfect Baltimore pick here. And they're like, no, I got him. Don't worry.
So I'm gonna mute Sean when the pick is announced.
Oh shit! So it's Travis Jones.
Yeah. The Ravens got Travis Jones. So we can start talking about Travis Jones. I'm sorry, Sean. You're right. This sucks. I'm with you here. Travis Jones is a first-round player in both Randy and eyes. Randy and my eyes. I don't know. That doesn't sound right. But Travis Jones, obviously, he played at UConn. He didn't really get the exposure that you kind of need. We had him graded as a first-round player, 79.2 consensus grade. Graded really well for PFF, 32 tackles, 4 sacks, and that was in the midst of getting triple teamed every single down, pretty much of his career there, simply because there's no talent in UConn to help him out. Being on that Ravens defensive line, I think Travis Jones could end up a Pro Bowl player, and that's the Ravens just do it well. They do everything well. They have had one of the best drafts I can recall, and I feel like I say that every year about the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, they just reinvented their defense. That's really the best way you could say it. Like, getting the best safety, getting one of the best nose tackle, D tackles when they definitely needed that, especially in a division that runs the ball so much. I know I gripe on that so much, but I mean, think of the running backs and fucking the Ravens offense in general runs so goddamn much, but the Browns have 2 elite running backs. Cincinnati has Joe Mixon, and Jesus, the Steelers have Najee Harris. I mean, this is division runs the ball. Travis Jones stops that. That's why we wanted him for the Browns, for this exact reason, for this team specifically, to stop this team.
So is Calais Campbell back?
Yes.
So he gets to learn from one of the best defensive tackles in the entire league too for a year. That's just remarkable.
Yep.
Remarkable drafting.
Where do you guys have Perion Winfrey?
Relatively high.
Talent.
I don't. He might be. He's either second or third for me.
I actually thought I was lower. So hang on. Let's look her up.
Perion Winfrey is second round talent for me.
If they don't go with him, I don't know what the hell they're doing anymore.
So I think too, you could look at a day 3 defensive tackle, guys like Atito Agbania, Thomas Booker. Matthew Butler is probably going to come off the board here in the third, I think. They seem to love John Ridgway, who I hate. I think he's kind of bad. I just don't think he moves the needle. So yeah, I mean, they could go with something like that. There's also Neil Farrell, not a super good athlete, but as we get later in the draft, Randy, you must know this next pick, do you?
No, they were just showing the pick is in,
Travis
but
Jones.
they were just showing the fucking Ravens draft of Hal Hamilton, Tyler Linderbaum, David Ojabo, and Travis Jones.
They
we got Martin Emerson, guys.
Hey, listen. So I think consensus-wise, let's put on the board. Let's see what the lowest pick that.
Quickly, Colts picked Bernard Raymond to play left tackle for them. I think that's a fantastic fit. He definitely needs to develop more, but he's very new to the game of football. And he was a tight end when he started, but he has a lot of upside, and this team needed tackle desperately. Again, another team that's filling holes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the big board, Christian, it's Watson. That was the lowest pick, and Watson went early second.
Yeah.
Watson. Who?
Christian Watson.
No. I was talking the lowest pick that the Ravens selected.
Oh, okay.
Which that would be number 23. They have gotten 4 of our top 23 players.
I'm absolutely shocked.
Because Travis Jones. So they selected our number 3 overall player in Kyle Hamilton, our number 5 overall player in Tyler Linderbaum, our number 18 player in Travis Jones just now, and then David Ojabo fell to them in the second round.
Yeah, and while they won't get a lot of production from David Ojabo this year, Class Campbell being back and him playing a little bit inside-outside, they'll be able to kind of figure it out, obviously with Adafe Owe continuing to develop on the other side. But the future of the Ravens, even though the passing game doesn't look bright, everything else does.
And
right,
they still have some picks.
Sorry.
Yeah,
they have
multiple
in the board.
Yeah, they do, and I think they're going to add a receiver. I think that they are actually going to let James Prochet play a little bit, though, which they should. Devin Duvernay is in his little role, but James Prochet has been pretty good in the filling Hollywood Browns. Kind of, when he goes down, Prochet produces. So I know that Lamar Jackson really wanted a wide receiver yesterday, but he didn't get one, and I think he was kind of just bummed that his friend was traded to Arizona. But this pick for the Browns, I don't know if you guys have seen it yet.
No.
I wouldn't be shocked if this is Nick Cross and it'll send Sean.
I will get.
At least Nick Cross, I think, makes more sense than Emerson at the point. I'll say that.
It sure does.
They do need a third safety.
Because Ronnie Harrison is not that. Yeah. So
it's not in yet for me.
Okay.
Like they're talking. Hawkins.
I know.
I'm seeing Andrew Hawkins.
Yeah, he's gonna get the poll here in a minute if he doesn't just make the pick.
Yeah. Is that his kid that he's with?
I would think, but I try not to judge the kids that are on stage.
Smart decision. That's a smart decision.
It's a business decision.
Come on.
We lost Sean. He's gonna be gone.
No, I'm here. Oh God. Hang on, it hasn't come through.
That's a great pick. That's a great pick. I like it a lot. So this is your guy. Sean's gone. So Alex Wright to me.
Edge 4.
So he is my edge 12. I had him rated higher than Josh Pascal, Sam Williams, Drake Jackson, who are all off the board. I had him graded as a third-round player. Second-round player. I had him as a second-round player.
Randy, can you play defensive tackle? Can you stuff the run, Randy? Because nobody else on the Browns can do that.
No, listen.
I moved cities, so no.
Here's the thing: Alex Wright can stop the run. This is a good pick. He can play 3 tech. He can play 5 tech. He's going to win from 5 tech. He gives you insulation if you aren't able to bring back Jadeveon Clowney. I think that you're more comfortable.
Did you say
What's that?
installation?
Insulation, like
Insulation.
There's insulated value in your edge room now because I think you're going to get some good pass rushing productivity out of this kid. He's not the bendiest, that is for sure.
Listen,
I mean,
he's
I
a decent player. It's just
for what it's worth, I had him rated higher than every defensive tackle left on the board except for DeMarvin Leal, who doesn't really fit what the Browns want to do with their defensive tackles. So
he doesn't, because he fits every D tackle that they have right now, and he fits Alex Wright.
He's not as good as Alex Wright at the role that Alex Wright is gonna play, which I think will mostly be a 5 tech. I think he'll be 5,
Agreed.
maybe. I think he can win from 7. He doesn't bend. He bends, but not like he's not super bendy. That's the problem.
The problem being, they've now drafted corner 5 and edge 4.
I think
edge 3 currently, but I'm assuming they bring back Clowney. I assume they bring back Clowney.
Well, who would then 3 be? Like
Chase Winovich, who's actually had sacks in the NFL.
See, I think Alex Wright could beat out Winovich.
I don't think
Winovich. If the Patriots are giving up on you, what does that say about you?
I just saw the pick for 80. I don't know who the Chargers picked here,
How
but
the fuck have you seen 80?
I don't know.
I really like
it. I really, really, really like the pick at 80
for Denver, which means
it's a pass catcher of some sort.
So they picked Jeremy Ruckert, didn't they?
No, it's Greg Dulcich. Is it Greg Dulcich?
Yes.
All those people that traded for Albert O are pissed.
Yes, they are, which this was a realistic possibility. I think in my mock draft, I gave them edge rusher and tight end. I gave them Trey McBride, though.
Now, who the fuck did the Chargers pick?
Yeah, I know. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I personally, I think Chase Winovich is a good player. Emerson is a solid corner. I don't think Wright beats out Chase, especially in the first year. Especially as a pure 5, I'm gonna take the guy that played at a bigger program, has actually produced in the NFL, not to an elite level. I'm not trying to pump him up too much, but still.
Yeah. No, but again, it goes back to my earlier point of why are you, when you have a specific need at defensive tackle and wide receiver, why are you taking these guys?
Well, I mean, I think edge was just as big of a need. I think it is. I mean,
if you don't bring back Clowney, it is. But
and maybe that's where they're going. Maybe they're realizing that they're going to have to eat some of Baker's salary here, and they're not expecting to be able to afford him. And I think they're also bringing back Jarvis at this point.
With all of Baker's salary, they still have almost $20 million in cap space. They can afford Clowney.
I know, but then that kind of limits your defensive tackle room. I think they need to add depth there too.
They haven't drafted a defensive tackle. You see where I'm confused in your process.
Yeah, but so maybe my point is maybe they're spending some of that money to get multiple guys instead of spending it all on Clowney. Also, this pick was JT Woods.
Yeah, Woods for the Chargers to be their third safety, which is what they need desperately.
They need
while Nasir Adderley and Derwin James is a really good tandem. Adderley definitely coming along more than being like a stud necessarily, but they both have had injuries over the last few years. You need a rotational guy. And while he's obviously wasn't the best safety on his team by any means, he did play kind of all over the field. And I think they kind of specialize that necessarily. Yeah, because he played Baylor, right? I'm not wrong.
Correct. Yeah, him and Petrie both, I actually think he's the more physical one. I think that
Yeah, which is weird, but
yeah. But I also think that So I think Petrie's better in coverage, but I think Woods is better as like a deep safety. I think Petrie's a little better at man coverage, but this is a really good pick. I think he's going to get on the field quite a bit too, because we know Derwin James's injury history, like Randy just talked about. So
Yeah, and they do have like multiple DB sets a lot, so he will get on the field, at least to allow others to be like a little bit more on the line and pressing.
yeah, well, and they toss Derwin in the slot sometimes too,
Yeah.
which I think that could be a route for him to get on the field.
Yep. Greg
This pick-
Dulcich, obviously phenomenal pick for Denver to help Russell Wilson. I mean, they have good receivers. Obviously, the top two being by far really good, and Sutton and wow, how am I forgetting that name? Oh my God,
Who are you talking
Jerry
about?
Jeudy. There we go. Jesus, I was like, how am I forgetting this guy? Obviously, those guys are by far the best receivers on the team. I do think they've gotten a lot of production necessarily from the rest of the receiver room, mainly slot guys, but I don't think they're really all that talented personally. Dulcich does kind of give them what they lost in the Noah Fant, having to go to get the quarterback upgrade, at least a lot more than Albert O necessarily, and it gives you a little bit more of a sure-handed approach at the tight end, just in case Alberto doesn't step up the way they wish.
Well, and honestly, I think Alberto's big draw was his connection with Drew Lock.
True.
And
he's just an athlete. That's his. I mean, that's really his biggest draw.
Yeah, Dulcich is a really, really good pass catcher. I think we talked about him.
He's a wide receiver that bulked up to be a tight end. So
yeah, he was a walk on at UCLA too, and he's just an incredible athlete. So
Cordell Flott. Okay.
Sorry.
The Giants picked Cordell Flott.
All right.
Yeah, it's not a tremendous corner. A guy that did play in the slot a lot in college with better corners around him.
Slot. So Flott was in the slot.
Yep, exactly.
The Giants did really well when they had the easiest two picks in the draft.
Yeah,
and I haven't really been impressed with anything they've done.
I do think Flott is like obviously. I do think he could be a good slot corner in the NFL. I don't know if he develops really.
But don't they already? They have that though.
The pick that's going to be the pick for the Giants that's going to be questioned is going to be Wan'Dale Robinson going over John Mechie,
all the guys,
and George Pickens and Sky Moore, and Alec Pierce.
Why you pick Wan'Dale when you still have Tony on the roster makes no sense to me, just personally.
Well, also, I think there's a chance they convert him to play a little bit of running back, kind of like we talked about with Rondale.
I did see your tweet about that. That he's going to be Saquon's third down back.
But fighting off the yawn, sorry.
But if they were doing that, then they should have probably just drafted James Cook because he can be a receiver as well. But teach their own. And he's on the Buffalo Bills now, so
okay. Falcons with, I believe, their second linebacker.
Right? You would think that the Falcons at some point are going to consider running back. I thought that this could be a spot for Isaiah Spiller.
I thought it could be as well.
You know who's going to take Isaiah Spiller?
D'Angelo Malone.
What a fantastic pick.
Yeah. He's like, if you view him as a linebacker, I'm not like in love with it, but if you view him as an outside linebacker, like edge rusher, I do think it fits. However, those edge rushers generally haven't been the best thing for the Falcons of the past. I do think D'Angelo Malone is really, really talented. This is definitely the range for him, but he has got phenomenal upside. So a team that's really unarmed on offense and defense has really equipped themselves early on in this draft for the future.
So, Sean, I have D'Angelo Malone rated higher than Alex Wright, just so you know.
Why would you
I will see you guys later.
Why would you do that?
Here's the thing,
the Browns from last year. Sorry.
So Malone doesn't really fit what the Browns want out of their edge rushers.
No, not at all.
This is not. He wasn't the fit. He's definitely scheme specific, but thin frame. But some of the most incredible bend out of anyone in this class, including the top guys that were selected yesterday. I actually have him maybe 4th or 5th in bend. It looks like his motor is incredible. He's one of those guys that will, if he misses on a play, he's going to chase you down 40 yards down the field, and that's really all they could show for Trayvon Walker, who is the number 1 overall pick. So Malone actually has active, or he has production to kind of match the film, which is really good. I know he's one of Connor Rogers' favorite prospects. He had him ranked inside his top 50, I believe, top 60. And I believe he's inside my top 100. So
I would think Nakobe Dean has to go within these next 3 picks.
If the Eagles get Nakobe Dean, I swear to God, Adam should be ecstatic.
Adam should be ecstatic anyway. They're going to take Sam Howell, though.
Damn it. That goes along with what I was just about to say. Jeff tweeted out 10 minutes ago, the Steelers should draft Malik Willis to have a camp battle with Kenny Pickett. Washington took Kirk Cousins and RG3. Why not do that? Agreed. Let's just pure chaos in Pittsburgh. I like it.
What the hell just happened in college football?
What you mean?
Jordan Addison just left Pitt. He said, "Hey, Keaton, how was USC? Tell me about it. Also, you suck. I'm out of here."
Is he the one that said he wanted more NIL money or else he'd leave?
Did Keaton Slovis go to Pitt to take over for Pickett?
Yes. Yeah, so Keaton Slovis is the quarterback at Pitt. Jordan Addison just transferred to his old school. Jordan Addison won the Biletnikoff, and I assume that Pittsburgh could not give him the money that he feels he deserves.
It's fair.
That's another speechless thing. It's in a different sport, kind of, a different league at least.
It's a different league, yeah. I mean, the guy we'll be talking about shortly in a year's time, but he's next year, right?
He sure is. Yeah, that's a massive, massive transfer. That's
I'll tell you what. I mean, obviously his quarterback, going to the NFL this year, I'm sure played a huge role in this, but we've had a plethora of USC receivers go into the NFL highly. I think that's a smart move by Addison, who hopefully gets hyper-targeted again by an average quarterback. I mean, he just did it with Kenny Pickett. So,
well, that's the thing. So a Steelers fan I know just this morning said, does the Kenny Pickett pick mean we get a one free Jordan Addison card with that? Unfortunately, no. But maybe, because maybe they're bad enough to go get him now.
The Steelers? No.
Yeah, they might be.
I love that they had Chase Claypool announce his replacement. That's just hilarious. That he had to pick George Pickens for them.
He wasn't happy either. That's the funniest part.
Who is this?
John
Dorenbos?
Sure.
Oh my God, they got Nakobe Dean.
Did they really?
Adam, you lucky fuck.
Adam, hop in if you're watching, buddy.
Nakobe Dean. So we brought it up earlier. He apparently refused to have shoulder surgery, which is why he has a medical red flag flopping him down the board that he might not be able to play right away. But Nakobe Dean, his tape is electric. He is one of the better linebacker tapes I've seen, especially when you know his size, where he is a little bit undersized for like the NFL position. But he, obviously, I get it. This Georgia D line was ridiculous. The secondary is ridiculous. The rest of the linebacking room was ridiculous. Nakobe Dean was the leader of this defense, in my opinion.
Easily.
And he was all over the field. This is exactly the type of linebacker that the Eagles have needed forever. And they even showed him playing fucking corner in pick six, and that was one of my favorite plays of his to watch against Florida.
Yeah,
he is easily the best player on the board here. I get the size concerns, the injury concerns, the testing didn't happen, but he is a sideline to sideline, just absolute tackling machine, an athletic freak that is by far the best linebacker that has played for the Eagles that I can remember.
Yeah, So he was our 12th overall prospect in this class, and he just went with the 83rd pick.
Yeah.
So that's what you call a value, folks. That's good value with that pick.
People are gonna have to like Howie Roseman again. This is why Howie doesn't draft linebackers in the first, because for some reason they're in the fucking third.
What an incredible pick. Also, the Patriots with this next pick after the Steelers, they should take Malik Willis, and
oh god,
they should.
They'll be taking I don't know. Let's
Some guy that we haven't graded because he's a 7th round pick.
Let's look here.
Did you guys notice? I don't know if you guys were watching, but for some reason Chase Claypool mentioned something about Browns fans when he walked out to make his pick.
Yeah.
The Patriots are going to take Darian Kendrick. Let's just guess. Someone that shouldn't go here. That's where I'm guessing.
That's
good. Majai Sanders.
He could go here. That's why I don't think he goes to the Patriots right now. You know what the shit thing is I have unfounded belief that no matter what, the receiver, I can say that Bill might not get right, but he gets right offensive lineman way more than anyone else, it feels like. So I feel like it's going to work out. It's just they've been reaching. They've been reaching.
What was your guys' thought on Tyquan Thornton?
He's my wide receiver 12.
He's a good player. Marvin Leal. Okay. That's a Steelers pick. That makes sense. Especially with an aging Cameron Hayward playing basically the same position. He can learn, develop how he needs to. A more like a light D tackle at times and a heavy edge rusher. He's a very complex player. I equate him a lot to, guys like that have played at Michigan over the years, not these last edge rushers, but the ones before, like Rashawn Gary and everyone that it seemed like they were out of position. I think they just put up Marvin Leal at DN because he was the best player and they moved him all around. But he's a D tackle, in my opinion.
Yeah, 6'3", 283. That feels pretty big to be an edge rusher.
It is, but it's also small to be a defensive tackle. That's the problem.
Right. When you're not a freak, when you're not a freak of nature like Myles Garrett, when you're 6'6", 6'7", 300 pounds.
Yeah.
He needs to be a bursty 3-tech. It's going to be his best role. And I do think he gets the time to develop in the system. I think that's a smart move by the Steelers, who needed interior depth at worst. And he's one of the better depth players I could think of for this team.
Yeah. So, we've still got Perry and Winfrey on the board. We've still got Zachary Carter on the board, and Carter's very similar to Leal. I think he's more powerful in his hands, and I think that would have maybe allowed him to continue setting the edge really well as a run supporting edge rusher over Leal. And I thought maybe he'd be drafted beforehand, but I have it graded Leal over Carter. So.
Damn it, I was so close. I was going to say Marcus Jones. Damn it. I literally was like, Darian Kendrick.
According to Jeff Howe, sorry, Andrew, who's a NFL insider, he just put out a tweet about 2 minutes ago that the Browns and Panthers have made progress in negotiations for a trade involving Baker Mayfield, but the Panthers aren't the only team involved in discussions. The Browns have been prepared to pay a portion of Mayfield's salary to facilitate a trade.
Man, I'm just happy for Baker. Baker's going to go compete with Sam Darnold in that case, and he's going to win comfortably. But also the third team might be taking Sam Darnold away. That might be the case.
Yeah.
Marcus Jones. Talk about Marcus Jones?
Yeah, Marcus Jones is actually a player that should have gone in the third. So this is actually a good value, perfect value pick for the Patriots here. They need cornerback help desperately.
He's so small though. Like he doesn't fit at all what a Patriots linebacker or cornerback looks like.
He definitely doesn't fit a Patriots linebacker.
You're right.
He does fit the Patriots quarters. They've had bigger quarters over the years, but they pretty much just take who they feel is talented. They don't have like I view like the Bills have like measurables at corner that they go with. I don't think the Patriots really do. I think they just pick people they think are truly talented. And Houston's defense has been really good over the last few years. So I'm sure that's caught the eye of Bill Belichick. That's why we thought Devin Lloyd would be a pick for them. Obviously, they traded back, so that wasn't a possibility. But, I mean, he definitely. Am I wrong to say that he might be their best corner right now? Like they do not have
lost
good
a lot.
corners.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's
JC
right.
signed with they got traded to the Chargers.
Yeah.
The Titans have just traded up to 86. I wonder if this is finally where Malik Willis goes.
Yep.
Or Howell.
I'm gonna guess that. So the Patriots corners are Malcolm Butler, Jalen Mills, and Jonathan Jones.
Are both the twins retired now?
I don't think
one's a safety now.
Yeah, I don't think either's technically retired, but they don't have any of them on the team.
I thought one of them came back like last season.
Oh no, McCourty's still there. Sorry, I was
Jason, right?
Devin is still there.
Oh Jesus, Jason played elsewhere last year, right?
Yes. I think
Jason on like the Titans.
That just seems like cheating when it's the Patriots players. To say the Dolphins, it seems too easy.
Yeah, that's true. I actually think that's right, though.
I think it is too. That's why I was like, I think it's Dolphins, but I also could just be biased in thinking that all the Patriots players go to the Dolphins. But I don't honestly. Jalen Mills has been okay. Malcolm Butler hasn't been the same since he was a Patriot. Jonathan Jones, I mean, come on. Yeah. This is not a good cornerback room. I do think Marcus Jones has a chance to be the best corner for the Patriots year one, which is saying something.
The question is, who did the Titans, if this is Malik Willis, who did the Titans feel the need to trade up to block? I mean, when you look at the next couple picks, the Cardinals, Cowboys, Bills, then their original pick that I believe they swapped. I don't know. It would be odd to trade up for Willis here because none of those teams would take Willis.
Well, yeah, exactly. So if they were thinking none of these teams are going to take it, we should probably trade up to make sure no one else does it. I think that's what everyone would be thinking. If this is the quarterback, I think everyone's like,
it's really
I don't want.
So really, like, I guess the Colts on a lesser extent, but really the Commanders,
Detroit,
and the Seahawks are proud. And yeah, so the Commanders, the Seahawks, and Detroit are probably the three teams that are going to be that when you if Malik Willis, Matt Corral, and Sam Howell start to come off the board, those are probably the three teams that
this is Malik Willis.
Is it?
Ian Rappaport just tweeted it. So Malik Willis is a Titan to sit behind Ryan.
How long is Ryan Tannehill's? How long is he only signed through the rest of this year?
He's signed for 2 years, I believe, but they have an out in the contract after this season. So
do you believe Malik takes over in 23?
I believe that's the plan here. Whether he's ready or not, I'm not 100% sure. I think he probably could be. At least, let's be honest, Ryan Tannehill did not have a good year this last year.
No.
So I do think that plays a lot into the selection and this value here. Raiders trading
back. Is that the guy from Psych?
Yes,
is that actor from Psych?
Yep, 100%. But Malik Willis is
kudos to Christian.
Yeah,
Christian called Malik to whether it was second round or not. Christian did call Malik to the Titans being the fit. So
yeah, he's an ultra upside guy. Like he has talent, especially running the ball. He's by far the most talented one in this draft class. There's no question. And he does have a big arm, but he lacks accuracy at every level of the field. If you watch Senior Bowl practices, especially, I think it just, when it's better competition, because again, he played at Liberty. He did not face good competition. So while he did look electric on the field against these players, it wasn't like he was facing the best competition. When he went to the Senior Bowl, rainy days, sunny days, it didn't matter. There was a lot of times where just simple out routes, he failed to get the ball in the right area. And that's one of the most highly run routes in the NFL. So there's still a lot of things that he needs to work on. But I would say I would trust his arm more than maybe like Lamar coming out. Like
Well, when
there's
you
accuracy
compare
issues, but on tape, I don't see accuracy issues necessarily all the time with Malik Willis. But I do equate that to his guys just being wide the fuck open.
Well, when
You
you
know?
take when you think about like FCS quarterbacks, you obviously think of Carson Wentz, and obviously Carson Wentz was the number 2 pick in the draft. Would you put Willis's skill set towards like Carson Wentz or more towards like Easton Stick?
Carson Wentz, easy. I have him as a 3rd round player. I have Malik Willis. So I and I want to be clear. I have Matt Corral and Sam Howell were both on the board as my QB1s tied at 74 grade, which is, kind of like a lower end round 2 grade. Kenny Pickett and Desmond Ritter following that up just below, and then Malik Willis here at 70.5. So he's more of a high 3rd round pick around this range is where I have his grade. And it's because while he is an athletic freak, he is a very, very slow processor in this division. I think that says a lot. He has a cannon of an arm off platform. He's the best in the class. But anticipation, mechanics, awareness, decision making, processing, all the things that make an actual quarterback, not a runner, besides the arm, is where he struggles.
Yeah. Hi, I'm back. I picked a bad time to run to the facility.
Kudos to you. I said kudos
you.
to you because you called this even though it was 2nd round, you did call Malik to the Titans. So good. I tip my hat to you, sir.
It's fine, but like I can't get myself excited about a 3rd round quarterback. Like we know what Malik is, and we know now that the NFL views what he is at exactly what he is, which is a major, major project. He's going to sit the entire year. I think there's a chance that Tannehill rebounds and then they do the Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love dance. The good thing is that at least
not the Tannehill rebound. I believe Tannehill only has 2 years left in total, anyways, like including this year. And I know we've talked a lot about them having the out after this year, thanks to last year's play. And so I do think there's a good chance that even in this scenario, they possibly move on from him. But I don't know if you do at this point. Like that whole process to me, like when we were talking about that initially in this draft process, I was like, yeah, you're going to have to pay AJ Brown this money. So drafting a backup this year to take over next year makes sense to save money. Well, they don't have that fucking issue anymore. So what are we, if we get the same level of play as Tannehill as last year's for this year, do you take the out? Because I still think that might be better than what you get from Malik. I think he has the potential to be past that by that time easy, but it's still work in progress, like we said.
Yeah, I do want to say, so Cameron Thomas just got selected by the Cardinals. Really good edge rusher, super productive, one of the best edge rushers in the country in terms of college production. But and then the Cowboys, who'd they take, Randy?
Jalen Tolbert, a receiver. Of course, they take a receiver. Right?
Yeah.
That's why I was like, really? Fucking receiver, this guy?
We'll get to Jalen Tolbert in a second, but I did want to talk about Willis a little bit more. I don't fault people for taking a swing on him because the tools are crazy. But I think what we've seen now over the last few years is that tools aren't the most important thing. They are a very important thing, but a lot of people can throw hard. A lot of people are fast. Sometimes that's not.
It's for the next year.
You like the Jalen Tolbert pick, Kevin? That's a little shocking.
He's very, very talented, so I get it. It's more of like they took a receiver, of course they did. But they've already made a few picks, so are there this like egregious holes for the Cowboys? Not necessarily.
No, I think they need a linebacker still. I think
linebacker, another corner, safety is probably there. There's other stuff, but you don't have to take that. Like you don't have to fill every hole every pick. So, like it does make sense to get a guy. I mean, they lost 2 receivers, right?
Yeah, they lost Amari Cooper and Cedric Wilson. Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously Gallup is not going to be there necessarily to start the year, so
Right.
you need to keep influxing talent. And I think it's just a good idea in general to, when you've had 3 talented receivers on the field most of the years of the last couple of years, I think getting another guy to be that third is a smart move. And in the third round, I think I'm perfectly fine with it. Yeah, kind of the same as Kevin. Weirdly, don't hate it. Like, if it was the first or second, I was gonna be like, really, Jerry? Like, fuck off. Like, that's not good team building. But in the third round, I'm perfectly fine with it.
Yeah. Yeah, and we interrupted my point about Malik, but that's fine. The thing all I was saying is that, like, sometimes tools aren't first round caliber, and I think that was pretty obvious for Malik, but I don't fault
First
people.
round, for sure.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't fault people for ranking him highly. I do think that there's a certain website that had him as their number 1 overall prospect, and I thought that was a little crazy, but and it looks really, really, really bad at this point, just with where he fell to. But here the Buffalo Bills selected who, Randy?
Terrell Bernard, linebacker from Baylor.
Wow.
Best linebacker on the board? No, in my opinion, but I think he does fit as their rotational linebacker, especially because their 2 linebackers are set. If we're being real, while maybe they're not set for the future necessarily, but they're set for this year for sure. Bernard does a little bit of everything as well, and he's got the makeup to be a good pass coverage linebacker for the future with some seasoning. But he is a phenomenal blitzer, especially from multiple areas of the field too. So I do think I equate his blitzing to. I'm not going to say a player. I kind of equate it to like more of just like an attacking safety, where I could see him inside, outside attacking as a linebacker, and I do think he has upside to be exactly what the Bills want from like linebackers. So I think that's a solid pick.
Are you shocked that they went him over Brandon Smith or Channing Tindall?
No. Okay. No, because I think you like Tyndall more than most people. I like Tyndall more than some people, and because you like him more than me personally. It's just
He's
this
my
is how it
linebacker
is.
4.
Bernard was on the fucking field, so and they do
it.
the same. I equate them to kind of the same thing, but we have more tape on Bernard.
I would really like to see
they're
Leo
an attacking
Chenal.
linebacker that has the upside in the coverage to matter, and we talked about mocking Tyndall to the Bills for this exact player model type reasoning to be the rotational linebacker, third down linebacker of sorts. So that's why I think Bernard's a good pick.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Leo Chenal makes some sense for the Raiders. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Raiders were at 86. They traded that so the Titans could draft a quarterback.
Was this from the Devontae trade?
No, this is their own pick. They traded their first and second round pick for Devontae.
That's what I'm saying. Are they only picking now because of the Devontae trade?
Yes. And they just got the trade details in the pick. So I'm going to go look at that quick and see what it actually was.
I think another linebacker.
So they got pick 169 to move back 4 spots. So I'm fine with that. That makes sense.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I think linebacker makes sense here too. I think Tyndall and I still
Winfrey, Kennard.
Does a guard make sense here?
Yes. They need trench.
Yeah. But I think
they need
I think you're right. They need corner help too.
Kind of, but they're better at corner than they have been most years.
You're right. They traded for Rock Yasin.
Yeah, and they got better play from their corners than I ever thought they could from that list of corners last year.
Well, they had who was the rookie last year?
I don't.
Yeah. Hobbs, Nate Hobbs.
Hobbs, yes, thank you.
And Shaw, Hobbs and Shaw.
Fuck off.
gotta get Luke Shaw in there. Isn't he a safety?
Well, this
you can get Bryce. You can get Bryson Shaw in there next year.
Yeah. No. Didn't Bryson Shaw just transfer out?
Great pick.
That is a great pick.
Good job, new regime.
So I do find it interesting. So Parham's a better zone blocker, right? And the Raiders, Now, of course,
They
I
run
thought that.
they run a power zone.
Well,
If that makes sense to you, like
are they gonna? Do you think that they're gonna run exactly what the Patriots ran? That's
no,
what I was gonna ask you.
no. But
Okay,
this
because
last
that's
year,
more
the
like.
Patriots ran more of a power zone.
Okay, you're right. Yeah, I mean, I get that. All right.
And
So it's
Parham's perfect for them because at the right side, which he played a lot of in college, they have Leatherwood from last year, who played tackle poorly and guard poorly. Now both these guys will probably start, which we'll see which way it goes. I think they'll move Leatherwood back out to the outside, and have Parham interior, and hope that those two together can really flourish. Denzel Good has actually been a relatively good rotational guard over the last few years, but he's been hurt when he's been tasked to be a starter, unfortunately. So I think him coming back this year healthy will be huge for the left side. So that left side will be set, at least in their eyes. So this helps try and set the right side for the future. I mean, I do like Parham. I liked Leatherwood last year, just maybe not at that pick. Maybe in the second round. It's a late first round pick too, I guess. But mid to late.
Gentlemen,
yeah.
It's still a reach. I agree. It was still a reach. But Parham.
his Grand Slam.
All right.
Huh?
Well,
fuck yeah. Nice.
That's fine.
But Parham does help to build this offensive line to what it needs to be, because without getting at least another pick on this interior or tackle necessarily, it would be, really bad, to be honest with you.
The next running back is coming off the board.
Did you see Isaiah Spiller? Or did you see
It is not Isaiah
Pierre
Spiller.
Strong?
Nope. Keep going down your list of players you think it might be.
Damian Pierce.
So before I guess another one, is that a player that didn't test well?
No. It's
Okay.
actually the opposite.
Okay, so Rachaad White.
Correct. Rachaad White is a Tampa Bay Buccaneer.
Good pick.
Fantastic pick.
He's a good split back with Leonard Fournette. I think that's a really good, and he could be tasked to be more of a receiving back as well as kind of a one-cut explosive back for them. So this is a perfect complement. This is really good. And Brady having a guy that's going to catch the ball like this is smart as well.
Yeah, this is he's a good pass blocker at times as well. But overall, like, some of his best reps came as a receiver. He can line up in the slot too. I think that he's a versatile piece, but also a really good runner. Just a guy that, you don't always love his contact balance, but when he's kind of engaged, like, he will try to run through you. But he's shifty, man.
I could see him taking over not punt return duties, but kick return duties as well. As a rotational running back as well. But I had to quickly ask, because I was like, well, the best pass catching running back on the board is Kyron Williams. I mean,
yeah.
But Rachaad White is very, very close. And he's a better athlete, clearly. It's a good fit. That makes perfect sense to me. I mean, they already drafted a D tackle, Logan Hall, and they drafted Gadecki, I believe.
Correct.
Either last
Over
round
Raymond.
or this round.
Round.
Well, Gadecki does project to be more of a guard, most likely, as well. So he might be their starting right guard, I believe.
Left guard.
Is it left?
Marpet retired. He was left.
Shaq Mason's left, isn't he?
Right
Or is he right?
I thought he was right guard. I don't remember.
You might be right. So this might be the left guard. Yeah, Shaq Mason is a right guard. Yes. Okay. So this is possibly the starting left guard.
So you're saying, so White is going to the Buccaneers? Is that
yes?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do we think? So at 92, would you guys be surprised if maybe we see an Isaiah Likely come off the board here?
I wouldn't say it's likely. Sorry, I fucking had to. I had to. Sean's here. It had to be. Christian left. See, that's usually the reaction I have, but it just worked out with Sean.
Because I was going to say the Buccaneers, it would make sense for the Buccaneers to take a tight end, because obviously you don't know what you're going to have anymore with Gronkowski. OJ Howard's gone. Cameron Brate is still there. But
Jeremy Rucker's still on the board.
I was going to say, it might not be likely, but it's a tight end. I can almost guarantee it. I haven't seen
No,
anything.
do you think Rucker goes? Do you think Rucker will go?
Rucker's better than likely.
But I am just kind of surprised that Tampa.
Packers third round.
Tampa went
Packers third round is always a fucking tight end. So this is probably a tight end.
I think it could sneakily be Charlie Kohler
Could
at
be
Iowa
Cade
State.
Otton as well. I know they brought him in, I believe.
I would take all of those guys and Daniel Bellinger over Isaiah Likely and James
I would
Mitchell.
not for this Packers team that only drafted Christian Watson at receiver, but whatever.
That's fine. Hey, listen, Daniel Bellinger is like Daniel Jeremiah is like second tight end or something like that. He was behind only Dulcich, I think.
I almost like went after Daniel Jeremiah there, thinking it was Chris Sims for a second in my head. I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah,
I almost said something detrimental, which shouldn't happen to Daniel Jeremiah.
That's true. Yeah, Chris Sims though, he can get out of here.
Yeah,
that's
Chris
fine. If you're watching, Chris, let's chat. You suck.
At quarterback evaluation, especially.
And playing quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
Pick is in already.
It is, and it's not a tight end, but it's a pick that makes a ton of fucking sense for this team. Sean Ryan, guard/tackle from UCLA. I do think he's more of a guard, but we've heard over the last few weeks that while they like their backup tackles that played a lot last year, they are apparently keeping Elton Jenkins at tackle, who did play well there last year because he's a fucking god tier offensive lineman, especially at guard, but he played well at tackle. So I don't think this necessarily confirms that like possible diagnosis of the starting offensive line, but this gives them the versatility to do it, in my opinion. And Sean Ryan is a really good blocker on both aspects. I mean, he clearly will still need to develop slightly. That's why he's going to the third, but he's talented, man. This is a solid pick.
They went defense back to back in the first round.
And right? They've now gone offense back to back.
Well, yeah, because they traded up to get.
They traded both second round picks to go up and get Christian Watson.
Yeah, which is crazy. Sean Ryan's a fantastic pick. You know, I've been a fan of Sean Ryan. I have him graded as my 7th offensive tackle. I have him rated ahead of Bernard Raymond as an offensive tackle. I have him rated ahead of Nicholas Petit-Frere, but I understand moving him into guard because he's going to be a force at guard. So
he is my 7th tackle ahead of his name. I have him, Dr. Disrespect, let's go. I have him actually over Tyler Smith barely at tackle. I think his tackle film was actually really good, but I do think he probably projects more. Oh my fucking god!
Isn't Dr. Disrespect banned from Twitch?
Twitch is stupid.
We're streaming on Twitch right now. You know, no, I'm just kidding.
No, we're not.
So, do you know this pick?
Yeah.
Is it a quarterback?
No, it's a running back.
Wow.
Oh.
Tyron Davis-Price.
Dude, why do the 49ers do bad things? The 49ers are not good drafters.
Well, boys, this will be the second straight year that a third-round running back to the 49ers will not be used. Because listen, there's upside with him. Like, let's not be rude about a talent of a player, but he's not a third-round pick.
He's not a 4th-round pick.
This isn't a team need by any stretch of the fucking imagination. And while they don't have like an egregious amount of team needs, and I get that the cornerback board is pretty lackluster. Same with the safety board.
The Panthers are taking a quarterback.
That's not a good pick. Yeah. Are the Panthers actually taking one? Do you know that?
They certainly are, and I will put up the quarterback that they are taking ahead of
Sam Howell.
Quarterback? No.
They traded
yes.
Did you actually get that information?
Albert Breer tweeted it out.
So I think that probably takes them out of the Baker Mayfield sweepstakes.
Does it, though?
I don't think it does.
Why would you go in with Darnold, Corral, and Mayfield?
Because Matt Corral's a 3rd-round pick for them, and this is a dart throw at this point. We kind of know what Baker is, and if maybe it does. Maybe they said that, we're out, we lost, and maybe that means that the Baker trade is coming here in the next few minutes. Seattle still hasn't taken a quarterback. I think that they are the likely team that would go trade for him. I also think the Tampa Bay
Baker wants to play
Buccaneers
for them instead of Carroll as well.
I just stumbled across Jeff's tweet. Does Sam Williams for Ole Miss, does he have some character issues?
He does.
Yeah.
He has off-field stuff. He would have probably been a top 50 pick.
They just don't need edge rusher. they have a lot of money invested in that room already, and they got a third edge rusher. I know Bradley Chubb's been banged up, and same with Randy Gregory, but still.
Did Greg Hardy go? Did he sign somewhere else?
No, he's either free agent or a Cowboy.
Isn't he? Didn't he just get kicked out of UFC? Isn't that just what happened?
He was still playing football, I thought.
I thought he was fighting UFC, Greg Hardy.
I don't know.
If we're thinking Randy Gregory is a Bronco, right?
Yes. That's why we just brought that up. The Broncos drafted an edge rusher where they didn't necessarily need it. Just rolling over what I said, I guess.
So, for sure. We need to talk about Tyrion Davis-Price really quickly because we're about to talk about Matt Corral. Matt Corral, for what it's worth, very, very highly volatile quarterback. I think you're going to have to teach him how to read an NFL field, and I think that might be problematic. I really don't know how to look at any of these quarterbacks today, other than Desmond Ritter, who I think has a path at a starting gig. I don't think Corral does.
Mike, do you think Desmond Ritter has a shot to beat out Marcus Mariota day one?
In camp, yeah, I do.
I don't think they allow him to.
If you had to pick right now, who is on the field as the starting quarterback first? Kenny Pickett or Desmond Ritter?
Desmond Ritter.
Kenny Pickett.
Because you're looking at almost the exact same situation. Well, that's the thing. Is like you're looking at almost the exact same situation when you look at Mitch Trubisky signed to kind of be a stopgap, and Marcus Mariota signed to kind of be a stopgap. One obviously one has the first round pick capital, whereas the other one has a third round pick capital. They both have the skill players on both teams. I mean, the Falcons are probably not where the Steelers are when it comes to who the Steelers have at their skill positions. But
they're not close.
It's relative. But like I said, there's obviously that capital. But when you look at quarterback versus quarterback, Mariota and Trubisky are they have a lot of.
Trubisky's better. Trubisky's better in my opinion. I think that's the
what we've seen on the field. Mariota's better.
I disagree, man. I think people have soured on Trubisky because of the offense that he operated. I think he actually was effective in that offense at times.
He was effective in getting the ball at the 30-yard line and being able to drive 10 yards and kick a field goal.
Listen,
I don't think Mitch Trubisky's a good quarterback. I don't think Marcus Mariota is a starting quarterback either. I'm just saying, I know we're pumping up the value of Trubisky for this year because he was a high-value free agent target from teams on a shit quarterback market, and he's now a starting quarterback for the time being. So his value's been pumped up, but he's not a good quarterback. Is he better than what we just saw on the Bears the last time we saw him play? Yes.
Is he better than Pickett to you though?
Right now, I don't know.
Yeah. I think that's fair, but I think they're similar players, and I would go with the guy that at least has done it at
2 years ago. I'd pick Kenny Pickett. 2 years ago, Trubisky compared to Kenny Pickett right now, I picked Kenny Pickett.
Here's my question too. So we just saw Matt Corral come off the board. If Matt Corral does not injure his ankle in the bowl game, is he in conversation to be the first quarterback off the board? Would the Steelers have considered him at pick 20 and not Kenny Pickett?
No, they clearly wanted Kenny Pickett all along.
Yeah, I think so. I'm a little upset that Sam Howell's still sitting here. I think that teams definitely see the footwork issues that Sam Howell possesses. where like Corral doesn't have that. Corral has like larger issues, in my opinion. And also, the North Carolina offense is just RPOs. Same thing with Ole Miss. That's problematic. But yeah, I kind of hope that Sam Howell gets off the board here in the next 10 picks.
Possibly within the next couple. I mean, not this pick, but
Detroit, please
Indianapolis,
go to
Detroit are the next two. Washington right after them.
Yeah,
I mean,
all of those are.
It's more rude, but Miami is still there. Should they do that? Fuck no. Could they? Yeah.
Who did they signed someone to be their backup though, didn't they? Who was it?
Tyrod.
Yeah.
Really? I thought Tyrod signed in New York.
Did he? Who am I thinking of then? They signed someone good.
Didn't we do a Friday fix? We should definitely know this.
Right. Zach Carter going to the Bengals as I deflect from our ineptitude. Teddy Bridgewater, thank you. So same level. Player. Yeah, same level. You can't say same player because that's low key racist.
I know.
So Matthew Burrell is still on the board then for the
Butler?
When it gets to these Matthew Butler.
I was like,
Matt Burrell was
I was like, is that a Twitter
guy? So I think the Colts got their wide receiver. They got their tight end.
They got their tackle.
Did the Colts traded up to this pick? So
no, this is the Colts traded up to 96.
I think so. It just said trade, and pick is in. So
okay, so that means it's Sam Howell, right? No,
it's Carson Strong. Just to make no sense.
Oh my god, I would lose my mind, but it makes sense.
They have a better Carson than last year.
Ryan. Yeah, true. Well, that's who I wanted to go to the football team so that the two Carsons could battle it out. Strong would probably win.
Both arrogant people, apparently, according to the circles.
Yeah, well.
The Colts select a third tight end. No, Nick Cross. Okay. I brought up safety for them earlier.
They've never really been able to lock on to that second safety. They wanted it to be Malik Hooker for a while, and Malik Hooker dealt with a lot of injury issues. So they've never really had that second guy.
They've got Blackman there right now, correct?
I think so. I don't want to.
Julian, not Justin.
Yeah, I knew it was Justin. But Nick Cross is kind of an athletic freak. He a 9.87 RAS. A relatively good production in college. Maryland not being, one of the best teams, especially in the Big Ten, probably one of the worst. But he's a pretty good blitzer. Coverage-wise, I don't think he's anywhere near elite. It's definitely more slightly above average, I'd put it. But he's a good tackler. He's got good ball skills, decent range, good bursts that really helps him more in the run support and blitzing than in coverage. But at least as at worst as a rotational safety, I think he's a really good pick for any team like day one rotational safety with the upside to be one like your best safety.
Gentlemen,
he's not a top 5 safety in this class, but
are you guys still going to be going? Are you guys still going to be going for a little bit still, probably until the end of the third?
Yeah, but that won't be too long.
Yeah, we're
okay. Just come back.
I'll check if you guys are still back on, but if not, I'll see you guys. Hopefully,
sounds good.
The Browns make a decent pick with this.
I was gonna say, you gonna get off before the Browns pick. What do you do?
maybe I'll stay. Maybe I'll wait because
they should be 3 picks, right?
Yeah, the trade pick's already in.
Yeah, and we might wrap it up after the.
I think we wrap it up with the Browns pick, anyways.
That's what we did last year. That seems to be the tradition annually now. I would love to see this be a quarterback.
I think you got to go quarterback one of these two, like Washington or Detroit.
So Detroit was the team that has been heavily involved in the Sam Howell discussion. That's why I had him going 32 to them, because I thought, again, I didn't have these quarterbacks that high, but it's just one of those. The teams want the 5th year option. They're shooting them up the board because they're the best the highest valued position in the NFL for a reason. Howell is a good quarterback that has some developing to do. However, the Lions do really believe in Jared Goff, whether that's misguided or not. It may be the reason that we'll have a retool of like maybe the front office and coaching staff for the inevitable run of Detroit, which is coming, by the way. I do think Hal should be the pick here for the future, because I do think they've killed it so far. I mean, Pascal being their worst pick, and that's not a bad pick by any means. And it's a second round pick. So yeah. I'm just saying, like, it has to be the worst pick because Aiden Hutchinson and James Williams are incredible, but Pascal, especially in that scheme, is really good as more of like an outside linebacker kind of edge rusher, which is what they generally like, and he can kind of replace the Aquaros for the future.
Aquaros, yeah. Well, for what it's worth, too. I mean, Pascal has snaps at nose tackle. Like he's Trayvon
so weird,
Walker, but
they're weird snaps. I don't understand it. It's like the middle school team that has like the 130-pound wrestler there.
Yeah.
At nose tackle, and you're like, okay.
Yeah. Of course, we would go to commercial before this.
I totally pressed the wrong button.
Yeah. Back to Nick Cross, though, I did want to say, he can be a liability in coverage at this point. But the instincts are kind of there in run support, and I think that you can develop into a good coverage line or safety. They did sign Rodney McLeod, so I think he'll probably start for them. Julian Blackmon rotates in with Kari Willis, who I forgot about as well. So they have a good safety room now. That's fantastic.
Yeah, no elite safeties by any measure, but they have some upside in the room now.
Yeah. So I think the Lions could also go linebacker here, and it would make some sense.
We'll go Tyndall. We've heard they really like their linebacking room more than we do, which is fair. It's their linebacking room.
We're right, though. It's not fair. Their linebacking room is not good, unless they plan to use guys like Pascal as outside linebackers at the very least, and then just generate enough pressure to filter down to Anzalone, and I don't know. And then he'll miss tackles and stuff. So
Kirby Joseph, the safety from Illinois, is here. 97 for the Lions.
It's a fine pick.
It's a decent cover safety. He's not a good run defender. Ironically, that did just come up on the board for NFL Network. I'm not trying to steal their phrasing and content. But he is like a I guess you would say single high type safety that is more of a liability in the tackling department, but he does have good eyes and good vision and good ball skills, so he can make plays for you.
I think he's a knockoff Brisker, like just cheaper Brisker in that
knockoff.
Yeah. And just in terms of the guys in this class, but yeah, I mean, Kirby Joseph, it was one of Dane Brugler's favorite prospects. He had talked about him as potentially getting into the first round early in his process, and that was a little rich. It was always a little rich, but he's got that potential. He's a good athlete, I believe. Do you know his RAS off the top of your head?
No, and I don't believe I put his RAS in there. So
okay, sounds good. But yeah, I mean, Kirby Joseph. The Lions need safeties badly. They have no one.
They
do. And so this, to me, there was a little rumor that they were debating moving Okudah to safety. And then I think Okudah, right after, posted his workout video of during his rehab, and they said, "Yeah, not going to do that. That would be really stupid." So they go and get their safety here and keep Okudah at corner.
Okay. Commanders with yet another not great pick. Brian Robinson Jr., the bruiser from Bama, the overrated bruiser at that. Yeah.
I think
to be your running back 3.
I think everybody kind of knew that Antonio Gibson was in jeopardy of having this happen. And
what's happening?
He can't touch Antonio Gibson. He can't touch J.D. McKissick snaps.
Yeah. I do think he is. I do think that he's like obviously he's
You
a
know,
bigger back to the smaller backs of those two. So I could see him becoming possibly a goal line guy if they want to try to save Antonio Gibson. Like if they want to use Antonio Gibson, maybe like the way they're
As a
using
pass
him
catcher.
now. But
this
but
is actually
still
one
use
of
him
the
between the 20s. But Robinson
this
could be the
is
goal line guy that I don't know. I'm trying to justify it. I don't really know if I can.
yeah. Sarcastically, this is actually one of the best landing spots for Brian Robinson, mainly because he'll be able to sit and not play until they have no one else. Then maybe he'll do okay.
NFL teams suck at evaluating running backs, man. I don't know. How do you have it? Do you have Zamir White lower than Brian Robinson?
No, hell fucking no. Brian
Okay.
Robinson's my worst running back rated.
Really? I didn't know you were that low on him.
I swear, there could be one. No, he's my worst. Yeah.
He's my 20th running back. I mean, so he's probably what, you're 14, 15? I don't know how many did you get to?
15. He's my RB 15 of the class.
Yeah.
I have him as a 4th round grade, I believe. It's bad. Zamir White's much better. I have Tyler Gill better, Tyler Batty better, Jerome Ford better. Like, no, it's bad. Hey, Sean.
Wide receiver?
Hang on.
It's a wide receiver.
Okay, wait. Okay, it's coming. I'm just gonna say it before you guys say it. I'm hoping it's Khalil. My hope is Khalil Shakur, but I'm going
Wrongo.
Oh God, I'm a little nervous.
I don't know if I feel good about.
He's our highest rated receiver, Christian.
Hang on. Hey, shh.
All right.
I'm cool with that.
All right, let's rock. Let's rock. David Bell.
But how does he go from like possibly the best receiver 2 years ago to being a 3rd round receiver?
He didn't test well.
He didn't test
well.
Crap. He doesn't separate super well. So David Bell, to me, we've kind of
we took another guy that doesn't separate.
No,
He
listen,
separates.
David Bell's going to be a slot receiver for the Browns, I think.
Yeah.
Which is exactly the role that you would want him in. Obviously, we stayed pretty high on him. He gets a fantastic production grade because he's a dude that just wins at every level. Look at
he can do what Jarvis did when he got here.
Better.
Well, when he got here, Jarvis.
When he got here,
was very, very good. I thought he would be off the Browns board, being a 3.97 RAS. That's not the type of player they take, but his film is the type of player they should take. A good route runner, really, really good hands, strong hands and soft hands, whatever you need it. The Cardinals have quietly selected 2 good fucking edges, by the way. But David Bell can win all over the field, and he had a ton of production. I am a 2nd round graded receiver. I think this is the best case scenario at this point for the Browns.
Would you have rather taken Shakur?
No, I think Shakur could be better in the long run, but David Bell gives you instant production if you need it.
Did I say that David Bell's also my highest rated remaining? He was.
Yeah.
He's my wide receiver 9. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Look at that. Despite the
Myja Sanders, the Cardinals, they got Cameron Thomas and him. They just reinvented the room. They nailed it there.
That's fantastic, dude. Oh, I'm so happy.
And they got a good receiver. I mean, did they overpay for him? Yeah, but
wow.
And they got it with the pick they got with Marquise Brown too, because they got Marquise Brown and pick 100 for pick 23. So Marquise Brown and Myja Sanders for pick 23. Is it still not perfect value? Yeah, but they're good players. They're good players.
Yeah.
They're both kind of small boys for their positions, ironically, but
yeah. Well, so Myja, he's a guy that he did not weigh in very well at the combine. He was sick leading up to it, still tested like a freak athlete while being very, very under the weather, which means that you put 20 pounds on him and he keeps that explosiveness, and you're looking at a guy who could push for top of the second round. To get him in the third here because of that, I think that's good. Really good bend.
Who's on the board here?
For the Jets.
Darian Kennard would be kind of a sneaky good pick for them here.
Yeah, so I think a linebacker has to be the pick, right? Channing Tindall. They haven't taken one of those yet.
Could be Perry Winfrey to help to stack the D line. I mean, it's still interiorly they're pretty good, but
yeah,
he's a player that shouldn't be here.
I also think Brandon Smith makes sense for them. I think they need a good coverage linebacker at this point.
Tindall or Smith makes sense, yeah.
Now, if they go a different position,
Chenal fits.
Oh God, I forgot Chenal. I keep forgetting Chenal's on the board. He should not be on the board.
They already kind of took a corner. They could go over the upside. Athletic Freaks and Woolen or McCollum here. I just don't think they should.
Take one of them and toss them at safety is what I would do. But
not terrible.
Because I don't think
just for the fun of it, but they won't because they've killed it this draft, 100%.
They sure have. Yeah, Sam Howell's not going in the third round, is he?
Nope.
Unless someone trades in.
Unless Kansas City takes him, maybe. The Rams, I guess, to be the backup.
For Stafford? Yeah, that would make some sense.
San Francisco, in case they plan on getting Jimmy G out of there, having another backup in there. I'm just saying the only chances he could go.
Yeah.
City needs a backup. I mean, obviously Sam Howell's better than that, but
yeah.
He's going.
Dak Prescott was a fourth round pick.
Yeah. So Sam Howell's gonna. Oh my God. Sam Howell's gonna go to the fucking Seahawks to start the fourth, isn't he?
He sure is.
Or Tampa Bay. They're just gonna take a shot. One of the two. If Trask or him's gonna work out, right?
Yeah. Also, in terms of the Jets here, I know they signed 2 tight ends this year, but neither of them fit as well as Jeremy Ruckert would at this pick. So I think Jeremy Ruckert.
Yeah, Jeremy Ruckert works as well. Again, yeah, they signed 2 tight ends. I doubt they take that position here. But their biggest positional needs corner, receiver,
but they already
edge,
took Garrett Wilson.
Running back even.
They already took Brees.
No. I'm saying their biggest position needs they already took.
Oh,
so
okay.
the last one remaining would be a guy that could play inside, outside on the offensive line to give you rotational depth as a 6-man and possible starter if need be. So that's why I think Kennard makes sense here.
Yeah, the Jets have been killing it, man. To draft Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson.
The best draft. I mean.
Up there with the Ravens, yeah.
Did you guys see the Brees Hall thing where for some reason he came out on stage 10 picks after his
in a t-shirt?
It's Jeremy Ruckert.
Is it Jeremy Ruckert?
Yeah.
Hey, I told you. I mean,
incredible.
What a fantastic
crazy. You know what's crazy about Jeremy Ruckert? Now I probably feel like it's a little bit of the style of offense Ohio State runs. Yeah. Obviously, Jeremy Ruckert had that unbelievable catch in the playoffs, in the playoff game against Clemson. I cannot tell you one game where Jeremy Ruckert just dominated for 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. And now I get it. It's probably because Ohio State doesn't run that offense. And now you look at who the wide receivers were. It makes sense. But Jeremy Ruckert was always kind of more the hype about him was more than the actual player. But I think that's because of the way that offense was. I have no doubt in my mind that he could be a really good pro, but he would have games where he would catch 3 balls.
Yeah, but he's got soft hands and he's an elite blocker.
Elite.
Yeah, I mean, he had 26 catches the entirety of last year.
Yeah, he does a good job kind of boxing out. I don't think he's a great route runner by any means, but he had one-on-one matchups he never had to be. So
I guess so. He had that catch. The catch was against Wisconsin.
He had one against Clemson too. He had
but it was the
multiple
throw.
he had
to put
multiple
through.
unbelievable catches. Like you
Yeah,
don't understand why he caught that.
But good for Garrett Wilson and Jeremy Rucker. That's good for them to kind of
Yeah,
they get to go to New York together. That's awesome.
So, Randy, I wanted to ask: is Rucker the best blocker? Do you think Rucker
he's
is
the
a
best
better blocker than Tremble from last year?
Yeah.
Do you think he's the best blocking tight end that we've seen since Kittle?
I'm not
Because
gonna say that without like fully thinking about that. But him and McBride are more of the mold of Kittle, that they love blocking and they're good catching tight ends. Obviously, McBride is way more prolific at the college level, but I think Ruckert has that kind of caliber in him, to, like upside caliber. Obviously, not to that level, but I think like the mold of it.
Yeah,
I think he would have went here at 102 if he was here. By the way.
yeah, as do I. And with that being said, I don't think that this will be a tight end now. I think this is probably Kennard or a guard.
Right,
Kennard or a guard? Even though Kennard is a guard?
Somebody talk. So now the Hall of Emerson. So now the Hall of Emerson, Wright, and David Bell on day 2 probably makes me feel a little bit better than
it's okay.
when we initially took Emerson, I guess.
Channing Tindall. Look at that. Who'd have thought?
Me.
Shut up.
No, this is a great pick. The Dolphins, I don't know what
Does
their
he have a
defensive
chance to go in there and
coordinators-
start?
Yeah,
I know they have Jerome Baker.
That's about it, though.
exactly. He'll start at probably Sam. I don't know what
I
defense they
would
run.
probably will
Yeah,
early on.
that's probably accurate.
So
that's it.
they do 3. So they technically have 4 linebackers as their starting depth, but they don't really run that.
They can't. It's impossible in the NFL.
Well, so they have Van Ginkel, Landon Roberts, who they brought back. Jerome Baker, who's the only really good one, and then they have Jalen Phillips as a Sam, but obviously he's an edge rusher, and not really a Sam necessarily. So he would kind of rotate in with Will and weak side inside backer, I would suggest, which is good because he rotated in college. He shouldn't start in the NFL day one.
But if he hits a ceiling, it's massive. The closing speed is elite.
I think he has a really good chance to be the running mate with Jerome Baker for the next few years. Honestly, it could happen this year. He's that talented. It's just he didn't get to show it. He's another guy. He's like Jermaine Johnson. He should have left so he could actually show his true talent, and he didn't, and he won a title. So I get it, but he didn't get on the field.
That was the first. That was the first pick for the
fucking hell. Draft. Well, you're not running on the Chiefs, son of a bitch. Leo Chenal. So now they have Nick Bolton and Leo Chenal at linebacker. And Hitchens?
No, they also have another younger kid that they drafted 2 years ago.
Either way, that's a ridiculous linebacker in my opinion.
They let Hitchens go.
I couldn't remember.
They have what the hell is his name? I'm getting there.
Willie
Gay.
Willie Gay. Jesus Christ. That's a good linebacker room. That's a really good run stopping running back room as well.
Yep.
Like it's gonna be very hard. Chenal's a good blitzer as well, where Bolton necessarily really isn't. Bolton is like just a phenomenal read and react tackler, and he just absolutely kills it at that. And we saw that this year as a rookie year. Chenal is a little bit more of a do-it-all, but he's a very good linebacker, man. He's a Patriots linebacker through and through with a run stopping, bigger body, blitzing. He's like an outside linebacker, more of it as well. I would say he's a better cover linebacker than Bolton already, but it's close. Bolton is not great, but he's not great either. Chenal's, they have a good linebacking room. Plain simple, they've had a good draft. I said in the Mega Mock, you guys keep making me take good players for the Chiefs. Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, Sky Moore, Brian Cook, Leo Chenal. Fuck.
Yeah, the Chiefs. It's the Chiefs, it's the Bills, it's the Jets, and then it's everyone else.
Ravens.
No, Jets. Jets are elite of the elite in the AFC now after this draft.
Arguably, the Ravens had a better draft, seeing as how they traded back for most of these great picks. Just saying.
I know. Yeah, the Ravens have had the best draft. The
Rams
Jets have
up
had the
with
second best draft.
Rams up with their only pick.
I hope it's
Let's show me
punter.
Calvin Austin.
Stop. I read a mock that they mocked wide receiver there. Like, no, they just signed Allen Robinson. They're probably going to get Odell back. They drafted Tutu Atwell last year.
I'm just looking at both TVs, waiting for it to pop up.
And it's Calvin Austin. No, I'm just kidding. All right.
They're sucking their own dicks a bit here, which is fair. I get it, but make the pick.
Yeah, well, I get it too, but no, don't do that.
Steven Jackson shouldn't be sucking his own dick about it.
Who is the guy next to Steven Jackson?
I don't know.
Is that no.
No idea.
So either way, so the Rams having just one pick in this draft makes it so it's impossible to pick what they're going to do. I think Sam Howell does make some sense, but I don't think that's the
Logan Bruss, the guard from Wisconsin. It's a Wisconsin guard, so it seems relatively good.
Over Kennard, huh?
Them laughing at Cole Strange is a little strange at this point now. I think this is a bit early for Logan Bruss. Just saying.
I do think
it's a Wisconsin lineman, so I think at worst he'll be a decent backup. Like absolute worst,
Yeah. So for what it's worth, I don't think they were truly laughing at the Patriots. I think they were laughing at themselves, thinking that they could get Cole Strange in the hundreds, especially. But like, I get it too. So,
I know, but it's McVay, so most of the stuff with him comes off a different way than it should, or maybe a different way than he intends.
Yeah. Yeah, Bruss can move though. I mean,
he can, and he played a little bit inside outside. However, I don't think he's a day 2 prospect.
No, but that's what the Rams do, and it works because they never pick. So they don't draft. They got a title. That's all that matters, right?
I don't think it was really through the draft, though.
All right, the 49ers they're about to follow up. They're about to follow up.
This is the last pick of the round.
Danny Gray, wide receiver from SMU.
Debo replacement?
No. He's fast, but not a Debo. They're not trading Debo, first off.
Was that the last pick of the second round?
Last pick of the third round, yes. This is the last pick of today. We'll be bouncing.
Still no Khalil Shakur.
No Shakur, no Sam Howell, no Perion Winfrey. But Danny Gray, he's a relatively talented receiver. He's got
Winfrey did go.
No, he didn't.
No. Also, no Isaiah Spiller, no Zamir White. No,
we knew I was pretty positive Isaiah Spiller was going day 3, but because of the testing,
I felt like it was kind of likely. So I'm trying to sift through and see who my highest rated player remaining is, and I did a pretty good job of identifying guys. Dameon Pierce at 58, or I guess Zamir, or no, I guess Isaiah Spiller. But
no, I guess
if we take running backs out, which feels like the smart thing to do at this point, because obviously I'm higher on them. It's Sam Howell, but he was my 72nd ranked prospect. So
yeah, Danny Gray, he's along. Like I wouldn't put him in the Debo category. I put him more in the IU category of a receiver, where he's not like a gadget, but he's more of an outside prototypical size of sorts, slightly shorter, and really speedy wide receiver.
He reminds me of Darnell Mooney.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Yep.
The one thing I'll say about like when you look at these guys, I would argue that David Bell probably produced the most in college out of these guys that went like in the third, like these receivers that went in the third round. And David Bell, he has great hands. And obviously that's something that the Browns really did struggle with. last season.
Yeah, David Bell's not going to grow much more. That's
right.
That's the difference. He's not an elite like athlete in comparison to the NFL wide receiver room. That's RAS clearly told us that. But what you're going to get in slot production and a little bit of outside production, a la what they got from Jarvis Landry, ironically, is going to be pretty good, especially early on. I think this quells the need to bring back Jarvis, but it doesn't get rid of that possibility because he'd be a good guy to learn from. And first of all, Jarvis is just a good locker room guy, so he'll always get
what's nice. What's nice too is now that Tampa Bay took Logan Hall early in the second, Perrion Winfrey could be staring at the Browns at 108.
Yep, 100%.
But I think were you guys kind of surprised to see Calvin Austin not come off the board in the third round?
No, he's too small. He's too small.
Ooh, but didn't a little small boy go?
Wandale at like pick 40.
So that's why I'd say yes, because Austin is better.
He's better than Wandale. Yeah,
he's better than Wandale. First off, he tested way better athletically. So if I had to pick one of them to go day 2, it would have been Calvin Austin, because they're both real small boys, and one's an athletic freak, one's an
I think Wandale having the weight on Calvin is the difference, though. So Austin's like 160, 170, I think.
Yeah.
And Wandale was at least 185, 188, something like that.
Calvin Austin.
Hang on.
I'm not going to say that. I think he's a better prospect. I won't say. No. First of all, I'm never going to say that. I'm never going to say that.
I know.
Just like I'm never going to say Calvin Johnson receiver. I'm not. It's ridiculous to say that. You could say that's kind of the archetype. I'm always fine with that, but to ever say that he could be this or he's the next this. The same with the Devo talk, and even with in the first round replacing AJ Brown with Treylon Burks and saying he's just the same thing. No. He's the same style, but that's not how that works. It could work. I think it very well could work. However, because AJ Brown had a lot of concerns coming out too with his scheme in college. Same with DK Metcalf, because it was the same scheme.
If you go to the fantasy now, if you look at the fantasy aspect of it, of those guys that we just talked about, I guess you can kind of throw, because we know that Sky Moore is going to be successful in that Chiefs offense. George Pickens, if he can stay on the field, is probably going to have a decent he's probably going to have a decent production with the Steelers.
Of those, if he has that much production this year.
Well, of those back end guys, who do you guys think could come in and would maybe make the most impact of those second or third round wide receivers?
It's John Mechie. John Mechie's walking into a massive target share, I think. Obviously, they have Nico Collins. They have a good young core there, and Nico Collins.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I literally was trying to think in my head there. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah. You were gonna say Christian Watson. I mean, that's another one where he's really raw though. Like they're gonna have to use him in certain situations, but
they got nothing else.
Why do I feel like the answer is Sky Moore?
It could be.
Sky Moore. It is. But Sky Moore is my wide receiver 5 pre-draft, and he is probably sitting there post-draft. I have him ahead of Olave.
So last thing, signing off.
Yes.
Who's the 101 in Dynasty Superflex draft right now? Is it Breece Hall? Is it
easily
or Drake London, Garrett Wilson?
I think Garrett Wilson.
I don't think it would be Jameson Williams with the timeline issues, but I think those are the 3 that we're in discussion about.
Where would you take Kenny Pickett?
108.
I would say mid round 1.
Would you still?
So that could be anywhere from. That could be anywhere from 5 to 8, depending on the side.
Would you still take him over Ritter and Willis and Corral? Or would you, Christian, I feel like you would maybe take Ritter first.
See, I would say
take Ritter first.
I have Pickett slightly above him.
So here's the thing. It's fantasy malpractice to say take the third round NFL draft pick over the NFL first round pick. I get that. So what I would do is
Makes
just
sense.
not take Pickett in the first round, and I would just wait and take Ritter in the second round. So I'm not advocating for people to go out and just ignore value entirely, but I would rather have the guy I think will provide rushing upside and actually has a higher NFL ceiling than the guy who we know what he is. I think he's I don't even think his arm's as strong as Mac Jones, or it's at least close. Like I think they have similar arms, and we saw that become a problem for
Yeah.
Mac Jones as a rookie. But so yes, I'm going Brees Hall or Drake London. Those are the only two. Kenneth Walker's spot, although he's going by Ken now. I saw, so Ken Walker, his spot kind of sucks if I'm being honest. So,
Mhm.
and
At
then the
least for
rest of the
this
running
year.
backs. Rashad White's a good shout, but I'm not taking him that early. That's a back end of the
That's a
first.
back end first, maybe. All right. Well, that's just what I wanted to kind of close with. Obviously, that's what we'll be covering next week on our show when it happens. I'm not sure if it's for sure
Yeah.
Monday. I think it is.
Yeah,
But
we'll see for sure. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Sean, for hopping in for both days of the draft. It was a really good time, and obviously we do this every year. We don't do day 3 because that's
there's
where
no need to do day 3.
no, because only fantasy relevant people will talk about on the show this week. So
right. And like Randy said, we will be back next week with a fantasy type of show. I don't know if we're doing a rookie mock. It sounds like something we'll do. But
generally what we do. But
yeah. So other than that, thanks for joining us. For Sean Ward and Randy Hall, I'm Christian Williams. We'll talk to you guys next week. Later.